Hello, and welcome to this lesson where we're going to look at how we multiply decimals. So we begin by looking at how we multiply our decimals by powers of 10. So powers of 10 are just numbers like 10, 100, 1000, etc. So we'll begin down here with a number that isn't a decimal. So we have 20 times 10. So we look at how many zeros it is, and then we just add that many zeros to the end of our number. So we have 20, we have 1 0 in the 10, so it goes to 200. Now, what's really happening here is we have the number 20, which is then a decimal point. So it's 20.0. And we're multiplying this by 10. Now, when we multiply by 10, we're moving our numbers here. Our decimal point stays in the same place, but all of our numbers are moving one place to the left because there's 1 0 in the 10. We can do a similar thing with our next expression. So we know that if we multiply by 100, we just add 2 zeros. What's really happening here is we have a number again, which has got infinite zeros following it. We're multiplying it by 100. Now, because we have 2 zeros, we're going to move it, because we're multiplying, 2 places to the left. So our number ends up looking like this. The decimal point stays in the same spot, and our number moves 2 places to the left. Now we come to a decimal question. So we're multiplying this decimal by 100. So the number 2.43 times 100. We have 2 zeros, so remember we're going to move it 2 places to the left. So we end up with the number 243. We have our decimal point like this. So we could just write the number like this. So we don't always want to multiply just by powers of 10. We want to sometimes multiply by whole numbers or by decimals. This example here just has whole numbers. So we'd usually set this up like following. We put 235 times 14, and then we'd work it out like we usually would. 0, 2, then finally, we add these numbers together. 0, 9, 2, 3. So we'd end up with the number, or the answer, 3,290. This time we have a decimal here. So we're going to set it up like we did before. 2.35 times 14. And we solve it like we did before as well. So 4 times 5, we get 20. 3 4s 12, 4 2s 4, no, 8, which takes us to 940. We add a 0, we get 2, 3, 5. We add our numbers together. 0, 9. Now, what we need to be careful of is we go into, because we're using a decimal here, we have this decimal here, we need to count how many numbers in this number here, how many digits in this number here, and this number here are behind a decimal point. So here we have 1, 2 behind our decimal point, 2 over this side of the decimal point. Here we have a decimal point and nothing is over here. So we have just 2. What we do is we go then down to this part here, and we have to, in each number, go across 2 decimal points. So we put our decimal point with 2 things behind it. 1, 2. And put it here with 2 behind it. And then we have a decimal point here. So we end up with our answer being 332.9. So now we're going to do a similar one, but this time both of these numbers are decimals. So we have 2.35 times 1.4. So we'd work it out like usual, but before we do that, we're going to count how many digits are behind decimal points. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So let's take a note that we have 3 over here. And now we're going to multiply like we did before. Now, before we go on, we need to remember that we have these 3 decimal points here. 1, 2, 3. 3 digits behind the decimal point, and we need to put that into our number here. So we'd have a number here, and we would have this, because you have 3 behind and 3 behind. Now we can finally add up our numbers. 0. And we remember our decimal point goes here, so we end up with the number 3.29.